So there's something I just need to say, a confession, a reckoning, a reclaiming, as you would say. For years, I've just surrounded myself with Jewish communities that were deeply immersed in what I now understand to be Marxist, woke, and ultimately self-hating ideologies. So I first encountered these circles at transformational music festivals, at Burning Man, earth-based circles, Jewish retreats, ceremonies. And at first it felt like I had found my people. Spiritual, open-minded, passionate about healing in the world. And so we danced around fires, we sang prayers, we sang to the moon, we called on our ancestors, and we honored the land. It just felt authentic and powerful. But beneath the surface was a dark undercurrent. These communities, many of them aligned with so-called anti-Zionist Jewish organizations like Jewish Voices for Peace and all those other ones, told me that as a white presenting Ashkenazi Jew, I was a part of the problem. That Jews are complicit in colonization. That by claiming connection to Israel, I was appropriating someone else's land. That in the Jewish story, it begins in Europe and ends in guilt. Guilt for existing, guilt for surviving, guilt for ever believing that we had a home. They taught me to erase my own roots. So I believed them for a while. I let them shame my love for Zion. I let them convince me that being indigenous to Israel, to Judea, to Samaria only applied to others, but never to us. But my heart knew better. So over the years, I've sat in ceremony with indigenous elders and tribal elders and leaders from North America, from Central America, from Africa. And I've listened deeply. I've prayed with them. I've heard their stories. They've heard mine. And not once did they deny the Jewish people's connection to our ancestral homeland. In fact, they honored it. They saw us. And in 2022, I was invited to represent the tribe of Israel, the Jewish people, at a global gathering of indigenous peoples, a sacred place of tribes from around the world. And every single tribal leader there recognized the Jewish people as indigenous people of the land of Israel. So let that sink in. The very people so many of these woke Jews claim to speak for, the actual indigenous people, these indigenous elders, affirmed our place. They recognized our exile and recognized our return. They welcomed us as kin. So let that sink in. Yet back in these so-called progressive Jewish spaces, I was vilified for speaking this truth. When I stood up during the George Floyd riots and said that Jews are indigenous, and while we were being attacked in Los Angeles by pro-Palestinian protesters that called for our destruction and wanted to kill all Jewish people, that said that we were colonizers, that Zionism is racism, people I prayed with, people I broke bread with, people who claimed to be all about inclusion turned on me. They threw me under the bus. And because their Judaism was no longer rooted in Torah, in history, and peoplehood, it was rooted in identity politics and social capital. And anything that didn't fit their script got erased. But it won't be erased. We, the Jewish people, are indigenous to the land of Israel. Our story begins in Judea, in Samaria and Jerusalem, long before the exile, long before Europe, long before the world tried to turn us into a religion divorced from land. We are not white. We are not guests. We are not settlers. We are the native children of Zion. And we carry a memory that has survived every empire that tried to erase us. So this is my confession. Walked through the fire of woke indoctrination. I saw the gaslighting from within my own people. I swallowed the shame and I spit it out. And now I return. I return to who I am, a proud, indigenous Zionist Jew, rooted in Torah, rooted in history, and rooted in truth. And I'm not going to apologize for existing. I'm not going to apologize for returning home. And I'm never again going to let anyone, Jewish or not, tell me I do not belong. So, Am Yisrael Chai.